Hello there, Kathy Madavan here again. Just your daily resilience training, although I don't know whether these are going to be daily, but anyway, just really hoping to encourage you in your resilience fitness muscles during this time, bringing you a few gems from my book Irrepressible, but also just kind of chatting with you really during this time as we try and work out how we do this weird season together. And today I really wanted to talk to you about knowing your irrepressible purpose. So it's one of the chapters in the book. In fact, it's the first chapter in the book because I think probably this is just a core foundation thing, really. Starting with knowing who we are in a season like this is really important because it is so interesting how much of our identity ends up being wrapped up in what we do, who we know, where we are, the photos that we can take here and there, the status that we might have, the significance we find through our roles. And many of those things will be really good things. We would be rightly proud of being a great accountant or being a great teacher or being, a public speaker at an event like I am. Those are things that we take huge joy in doing. They're part of, what makes us tick. But I think the trouble is when those things end up becoming not just a coat we wear, but they end up being a mask we hide behind. And they can end up, being something that become our identity. Like we don't know who we are unless we are somewhere doing something. And so for me, this is a time for us to peel back the layers a little bit and say, well, when I've got this removed, so when my diary is empty, like mine, is now. I've got some writing projects to do, but really, all the things that I was planning on doing have been cancelled until the autumn. So, who am I? Like, who am I? Well, what am I? What do I bring when my CV isn't on fire? Who am I when my role is gone? Who am I when, like, the things that normally make me want to get up in the morning and do stuff are not there? Now, I appreciate for some of you, this is a busier season than ever. You might be working in the NHS right now, or you might be at home with young children, or you might be kind of up to your ears in different work. Church leaders I know are working their little bottoms off at the moment. So it might be that it's not just because you're not busy, but this is a chance, I think, for us in this kind of chaos to work out what really matters. You suddenly, you're reminded, aren't you, of your values at a time like this. You're reminded of the fact that we are human beings and not human doings, and actually we have to care for one another. I do think that it's been lovely to see Britain respond to caring for its NHS workers and wanting to help the elderly. It's amazing to see Facebook groups popping up everywhere to help one another, and churches in every village, town and city just responding to their community. It's just beautiful, actually. But for all of us, we need to come back and work out, well, who am I and what matters to me? What is my irrepressible purpose? Is it just to be busy? Is it my job? Or is it something more core than that, actually? Who am I and what do I bring, even when those things look really different to normal, when they're not really always there? So I always think of, for example, someone who is hospitable. You'll know a hospitable person because they'll be the one bringing donuts and cakes in the office, but they'll also be the ones inviting people for coffee in their homes, and they'll often be maybe the ones inviting people for meetings online as well during this period, because wherever they are and whatever their position is, their posture doesn't change. And I think that's what I really wanted to say. Like, even if your position changes, even if your posture changes, even if your position changes and even if your place changes, your posture can remain the same. I remember meeting a doctor when I was visiting a refugee camp for the first time. It was an extraordinary place to go. Devastating, where, these people had lost everything they knew, and they were effectively in captivity. I feel like I could learn a lot from them at the moment because the situation was so much worse than ours. And yet in this place I met a guy who was a doctor there who had lost everything in Syria, but was using Red Cross equipment and still loving and serving people, and everyone respected him as doctor because he couldn't stop going around and caring for people. It's just who he is. So what is it that you always bring wherever you are? I wonder. Are you a problem solver? Are you a carer? Are you a listener? Are you a great chef? Are you a creative person? Are you really organized? What are the things what are the things you think, this is why I get up in the morning, this is who I am, this is what I bring, and how can you bring it in this season in a way that is going to help you feel like you're living out your irrepressible purpose, that you've not been squished down totally, but also in a way that hopefully is going to encourage other people at this time. Because if we all lean in right now to doing the thing that we're made to do, but not just for ourselves, but for one another, we're going to help each other through a really difficult season. So let me know, what is it that you do? What is it that you bring? What is the thing that brings you life and brings you alive? And how are you using that to stay alive and to stay, refreshed and stay refueled, but also to refresh and refuel others? Let me know. I really would love some creative ideas. It'd be great to see how we're all doing this. It would be fantastic. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, by the way. I'm like, this is what I do. So I'm just going to do it just here instead of in front of an audience. So how are you doing it? Would love to hear. Speak to you soon.